Today's video is going to be based around your manufacturing advanced training. If you haven't watched your basic training regards to your manufacturing module, please go ahead and watch that. Once you've watched that, then you can come ahead and watch the advanced training. We're going to look at things like barcode manufacturing, job timesheets, production, job status, and etc. First things first is we are going to jump into a manufactured product with the bill of materials. And with the tree structure here, what we're going to look at is how we are going to incorporate these labor costs within there. Now, these labor costs are not going to affect the cost process price of this item. It will then affect the sale cost of the item. So what I mean by that is the cost of the product, cost with labor, and then price with labor. So just bear that in mind. But we're going to look at how we incorporate these labor costs for those assemblies. So if we jump out of there quickly and we go into the resources list and we look at our different resources that we touched on in the previous video: assembly, welding, cutting, etc. We go ahead and look at our, let's say, our welding. We can see the hourly labor rate and the setup time, breakdown time, and however much time you put within your bill of materials tree. That labor rate per hour is what is going to calculate that cost. So if we jump back out, go into our wagon, that is how we are going to get these numbers here. So within the assembly, you can choose whatever assembly it is. We can see now the duration for this assembly is going to be 1 hour, setup 10 minutes, break, so just make that 1 hour. There we go. Breakdown time, sequence, and so on. Once we hit save, that'll then refresh those rates regards to this wheel assembly. So that's how you would change your labor costs within your process. You would, as I said earlier, go to your resource list and make sure that hourly labor rate is correct, and it will populate from there. As well as that, if we jump back into our bill of materials tree, we can see that the units of measure can be changed accordingly. So if you're looking at this with different quantities and different units of measure, you can go ahead and alter that again within your main product. If you're looking again under that handle or the tray and so on, you can change the units of measure from there. Again, if we look at our quantities, we can look at all our different available units of measure for this product. So if this was a compartment or a tray and so on, you would look at what different types of units of measure you can add for that. So again, all these different multipliers, you can see what you want to add there. So if we had different units of measures for our different items, so our tray or our handle and so on, we could see that the total quantities would change for those items. So just be cautious of that when changing your units of measures and how it's been multiplied within that. Bear in mind your two different units, or your total quantities, would change with that. Jump back out of there. What we can now also do is have a look at our bill of materials product status. We can look at this in summary, details, extra details, and so on. If we go ahead and look at it on details, we can also see whether they've not been converted, or both. Again, here, a huge amount of options. We can customize this grid or this list here with any look and feel. So if you want to add fields to that, sale dates and so on, tick it, hit OK, and again, move these fields around to however you want to view them. The big thing in here is that we can highlight our different options and group them. So if you're looking at different categories or whatever, we can group these, ungroup these, and create smart orders from these here. As well as that, from here you can group certain individual products together, group them, or create your smart orders again. Make sure what's done there, make sure your process tree is correct, hit save, create those smart orders, and there you are. Add your specific suppliers and you can create your smart orders like so. Again, wherever you see data, simply double click and it will take you back to what makes that up. So we can see with this item here, we're looking at the handle for a wagon, 2 have been ordered. Simply double click and it takes you back to the smart order that makes that up. As well as that, if we scroll down, we can look at what's been ordered, what's on back order. So double click, you can see what's been put on back order. Those purchase orders were created for that, and we can see what's been received. Again, double click and we can see what makes that up. So here, back orders that are currently going for these products or these items, what's been received in, we can see 60 have been received in, and so on. So a huge amount of information there. Jump back out of there. Another thing we can look at, or what we're going to look at, is the importing of your bill of materials related to a specific product. Now the best way to do this is to export a current bill of materials tree and then alter that and then re-import it. So if we go ahead and look at our manufactured products here, we can look at the tree on related to this product here on the side here, so we can see the bill of materials tree related to this. What we want to do now is we can go ahead and say export tree. What we'll then do, save it to our desktop, PDR file, call it whatever you want. Let's say wagon. Yeah. Hit save, and that'll then export. If we then minimize, we go back in, we can see our wagon.pdr file has been created. What we can then do is go into Microsoft Excel and we can go ahead and import this in. Go ahead and say next, and we're going to leave it like so. You can see this in text view. Hit next, we can leave it as text and say finish. What I then tend to do is highlight this corner here, simply double click on one of these middle, between the middle of the numbers, double click, and it'll populate that and even out those lines accordingly. So there we go, there's our information that makes up that bill of materials tree. If we scroll to the right, we can see more information in regards to the resource names that we looked at earlier, the description, duration, periods attached to that, and units of measure, and so on. Now you can go ahead and alter this as you go along. It's totally up to you. But if you're unsure of the description at the top and you don't really understand what that means, what you can do is go back into True ERP and you go ahead and click on this little exclamation mark here, details, or sorry, not exclamation mark, question mark, and details of the exported fields, and it will tell you what those fields mean. So there we go. If you want to know input type, and it will tell you the option there. This process, or this option here, make a unique number for each row in the file. So if we go ahead and look at our Excel file again, we can see what's related to this process tree. So if we look now at our wagon, we can see number 1 here, and this this field here to the right of that, we can see these duplicate numbers. These are going to be the subs for that wagon. Again, we can see number 4 is going to be the subs for that wagon. Again, what is the caption, whether it's wheel assembly hub, again wagon, we can see the handle and the tray and the wheel assembly, sorry, and for this one is going to be the hub and the wheel choice. So these are going to be your subs that are related to that product. So just bear that in mind. If we now jump back into True ERP, close back out of there. What you'll then do is, once you've saved that, go back into your manufacturing product and say import tree. Go find that file, hit import, and whatever changes you've made, whether we've added a color to that wagon or so on, you would then see that within the fields as shown here. These subs need to be, or these fields need to be in True ERP for it to register and for it to see that. But if you're just adding a field like so, you can go ahead and add that. But this product color choice, if I can say that, needs to be within True ERP for it to see that. Jump back out. From here we have another great tool, and it's going to be regards to our barcode manufacturer, and this is going to be around the similar functionality and process regards to our barcode picking within the inventory module. Around the same kind of concept. If we go in here, this can be done on touchscreen and so on, scanned in, or you can simply type in as so. And basically what this is going to do is we're going to be able to run our whole shop floor from this simple barcode manufacturer screen. And how it works is we're just going to select an employee. Okay, we'll select the employee. We're going to select the job for this employee. This wagon here. Select. We can now highlight different fields, or all the fields, and we can start working now. So whatever functions we want to do, whether we want to do worksheets, picking, allocating, scheduling, huge amount of options here. But before we do anything there, what we recommend you do is click print control codes. This you need to do for all your guys on the shop floor to scan in. So it'll have a barcode with a command below it. So scheduling, scan here, starting, stopping, start all, complete, unschedule, and so on. So we recommend you go ahead and print those for your guys on the shop floor. Then put that up somewhere so where everyone can see and scan those functions in. So again, start, stop, open sale, picking, worksheets, and so on. So again, from here, a huge amount of options. If we want to select our fields, we can do allocations, picking, we can schedule these in, items to be scheduled in for the wagon, hit OK, and there we go, those items scheduled in, we can see there now. Again, create invoices, open sales, and so on. So when your job's been done in there, if we close out of there, we can go look at our job timesheets, and this will populate that information here. Again, double click and it will take you back to what makes that up. So again, we can see the status of these jobs, hasn't been started, and what's gone on. Production orders, we can see what production orders are on there. Go ahead, double click, and it will take you back to the information that makes that up. Again, great tool with inside True ERP. So there we go, that is your advanced manufacturing training. Again, go ahead and watch the basic training, then work your way onto the advanced training and see how your shop floor travels and how your process steps work within resources, work within your capacity planning, and again, production jobs, and running your whole shop floor from your barcode manufacturer. So there we go, that's your advanced manufacturing training. Thanks for watching.